How's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of my pay-per-view review series. In this episode, I will be discussing my match-by-match thoughts on NXT Takeover War Games, which happened last night. As I've explained in the past, my work schedule does not allow me to watch WWE pay-per-views live, so I have to watch when I get home from work the next day. So as of this recording, I have not seen any of the matches yet. I will watch each match and then give my thoughts on what I thought went well and what I thought went not so well. I have my coffee at the ready and my dinner on the stove, so I am prepared to take in what I have heard is a very good show. Let's get it started. Alright, I watched the pre-show last night before I went to bed, and right at the end is when they brought down the cage. And the way they did it, where they had it basically the sides just folding into the ring, I thought that was pretty cool. But the opening montage, they used Black Sabbath. I like that. It was a typical opening montage, but it only focused on the War Games matches, not much else. But the first match, women's War Games match, and I had a lot of notes for this match. But first, let's see how I picked it.
My pick for the women's War Games match is Team Candice with 1 confidence point.
Now is my time to shine.
Alright, the first thing I'm going to talk about is a female ring announcer really doesn't work for War Games. It just didn't sound good. Then Candice LeRae comes out for a War Games match and she's wearing black angel wings. And you're getting ready to go into a War Games match? Really? Shotzi's tank, I thought it would look better if the tracks actually moved, but they don't. So it basically looks like it was on a rolling platform. And right at the outset, Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart, they disagreed on who was going to start. Shotzi wanted to start, and then Ember said, "No thanks, I got this." But it's Dakota Kai versus Ember Moon to start. They would do a wide shot of the ring, and it was really hard to see what was going on in the ring because of the cage. Throughout the match, they kind of improved on that and didn't do it as often. But right there at the outset, when they were going wide on the ring, I could barely see what was going on. It was a very neat double knee move that Dakota Kai did while she was sitting on the ropes that she gave to Ember Moon right before the end of the first period. Shotzi's in next, and she pulls a toolbox from under the ring and just throws it in and then basically ignored it. In War Games matches, babyface teams should never have the advantage. It doesn't look right because you're not putting your heroes in any peril. Raquel Gonzalez is in next. She's basically facing Shotzi and Ember alone while Dakota Kai was recovering, and she did pretty well when it was 2-on-1. Then when Kai recovered, she and Raquel basically dominated the match. There was a nice flying double clothesline from Dakota Kai to both Ember and Shotzi with the assistance of Raquel Gonzalez. Rhea Ripley was in next. There was a nice stare down between Rhea and Raquel Gonzalez when Rhea was in one ring and Gonzalez was in the other. I thought that was pretty neat. Toni Storm is in next, and she brings in kendo sticks. And the first thing I saw was that women really swing kendo sticks in a weird kind of way. It doesn't look really good. Okay, Io Shirai was in next, or at least she was trying to get in. She brought a ladder into the ring, and then Raquel Gonzalez basically blocked her from getting in the ring, so she never got in during that 3 minute period. Io brings in another ladder, and it basically gets shoved into her and sends her into the barricade, so she's down. Then Io starts putting chairs in the ring. Why don't you stop worrying about putting weapons in the ring and then just get in there? You might have been able to help your team that way, but no, let's put the weapons in. She was having all this kind of difficulty in the cage, I figured, yeah, she's probably going to come in from the top anyway. Candice LeRae is in next. Indy Hartwell attacked Io from behind, which continually kept Io from getting into the ring. Indy locks the cage before Io can get in, and then basically slips the key down her shirt. Shotzi gets triple teamed with kendo sticks, and that looked like it hurt. Candice tries to pin Shotzi, but the ref won't count it because Io's not in the ring. Good strategy until it looked like that part kind of backfired on you. Io finally gets in the ring. She puts a trash can over her head and then just jumps in on everybody. Io hits a moonsault on Gonzalez, but Ember and Rhea Ripley did a horrible job of protecting the pin. Basically, they were standing there, and I think it was Dakota Kai and Candice LeRae both got by him and broke up the pin. They looked really dumb doing that. There was a sorry chair shot from Dakota Kai to Shotzi Blackheart. Basically, she just pushed the chair into Shotzi, and it looked really weird. My holy moment was the double stomp from Dakota Kai to Io Shirai, while Io was inside the trash can laying down on the canvas. That was, oh my God, look at that. There was a sick eclipse from Ember Moon to Dakota Kai onto some chairs. And I said, Candice LeRae looks way better on this show than she did during TakeOver 31. But then, as soon as I noticed that, Wade Barrett had to cover for Candice LeRae because she was messing with a chair too long to get it into position before Shotzi hits her with the senton off of the top of the ladder. Then Gonzalez powerbombed Io Shirai from the top rope across a ladder that was propped up on the bottom rope, and it was in between the two rings, and got a 3 count on the NXT Women's Champion. So Team Candice wins, and my only note that I took after the match was Raquel Gonzalez was made in this match. She's probably going to be the one that takes the title off of Io Shirai. But it was a very good match. The men's War Games match is going to have a lot to live up to. I get the match correct, and I get 1 confidence point, and let's go to the next match. All right, before the next match, we had a intense promo from Finn Balor. The next match is Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher. And let's see how I picked it.
My pick for this match is Tommaso Ciampa with 3 confidence points.
Now is my time to shine.
All right, there was some nice grappling to start the match. I always like that. I'm sure you all are well aware of that by now. Ciampa getting in some nice work while he's working on Thatcher's leg. Thatcher's forearm uppercuts look more stiff than any I've ever seen. Thatcher is cut open by the ear from a knee from Ciampa. There was an innovative way that Thatcher clotheslined Ciampa with the top rope when he dropped off the apron. I thought that was pretty cool. Ciampa wins after Willow's Bell. It was a decent match, but I think these two can do better. They should probably fight again. And I get that match correct, and that's another 3 confidence points for me. All right, next match is Dexter Lumis versus Cameron Grimes in a strap match. And let's see how I picked it.
My pick for the strap match is Dexter Lumis with 4 confidence points.
Now is my time to shine.
All right, Cameron Grimes attacks Lumis before the bell, before he gets the strap put on. Dexter Lumis looks like a cross between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. He's doing like all the gyrations that The Undertaker usually did, but then hit a sick Lou Thesz press on Cameron Grimes that made me think of Austin. There was a vicious belly-to-back move from Grimes to Lumis that sent him over the barricade. That looked like it would have hurt if there was probably padding on the other side of the barricade so he didn't hit concrete. It was a nice German suplex from Grimes to Lumis that took Lumis into the top turnbuckle. But eventually, Dexter Lumis gets Cameron Grimes to tap out with silence. And what do you know? That's 3 matches in a row I've got right. And now the North American Championship Triple Threat match. It's Johnny Gargano versus Leon Ruff versus Damian Priest. And let's see how I picked it.
My pick for the North American Championship Triple Threat match is Damian Priest with 2 confidence points.
All right, Johnny Gargano starts the match by getting rid of Priest to the outside and then tries to pin Ruff several times. Priest just tosses Ruff aside a few times. He's like, get out of my way, kid. Not showing much respect to the North American champion. So then what does Leon Ruff do? He teams with Gargano and they dump Priest to the outside. Priest hits a razor's edge through the barricade on Ruff, and then Ruff gets carried out, but I think he was only out for like 5 minutes. He came rushing back pretty quick. I don't think he sold that move pretty well. Took Gargano 2 times to get a tornado DDT on the outside on Damian Priest. Like I said, Ruff returned to the match like not long after he was carried out. There was a nice cutter off the top rope from Ruff to Johnny Gargano. And Leon Ruff started looking really good once he got into the match. It was an innovative recoil clothesline from Ruff to Johnny Gargano. Gargano lawn darted Ruff into Priest, who was sitting in the corner. That looked like it hurt. Gargano tied Damian Priest to the ropes in the other ring that they weren't using. And by doing that, he focuses on Leon Ruff, tries to pin him, and Priest has to break away real quick to break up the pin. But once Priest does break free, he winds up getting triple teamed a couple of times by a couple of sets of ghost faces. Priest is about to hit his finisher, and another ghost face hits him with a lead pipe. Gargano hits one final beat on Leon Ruff, and it's all over. Oh, well, what do you know? That's the first match I've missed during this show, and it only cost me 2 confidence points. And it turns out Austin Theory was the ghost face that hit Priest with the lead pipe, and it looks like he's now someone else's lackey again. Alright, now we're on to the men's War Games match. And let's see how I picked it.
My pick for the men's War Games match is the Undisputed Era with 5 confidence points.
Now is my time to shine.
Alright, I wrote a ton of notes on this match, so you're going to have to bear with me. The first thing I noticed, like, do we really need to hear the rules for War Games again? We heard it at the beginning of the show. You know, it just sounded like they were wasting time explaining the rules again. Kyle O'Reilly starts for Undisputed Era, and Pete Dunne starts for Team McAfee. There was a vicious kick from Pete Dunne to O'Reilly after landing on his feet from a German suplex attempt. That looked pretty vicious. Then Oney Lorcan is in next. And as soon as he hit the ring, I'm like, oh, this match is tailor-made for Oney Lorcan. O'Reilly faces the 2-on-1 until Bobby Fish is in the match next. And it was nice teamwork from Fish and O'Reilly. You can tell they've been a tag team for a really long time. Danny Burch is in next, and he throws in an orange sack that has 2 cricket bats in it. Burch and Dunn use the cricket bats and beat down Fish and O'Reilly. Roderick Strong is in next. Roddy gets met right at the door with an intense European uppercut by Oney Lorcan. And like he about took his head off with that thing. McAfee's in next, and he brings in 4 tables, and each table has a different name on it, one for each member of the Undisputed Era. And then he also threw in some chairs. And then as soon as Pat got in the ring, basically all he did was just prop himself up in one of the corners, and he was sitting there until he finally hits a moonsault through Roderick Strong through a table. Adam Cole is in next. He's the last man in. All 4 members of Team McAfee are waiting there at the door for him, and he just sprays them with a fire extinguisher so he can get in the ring. Cole counters a bitter end with a DDT. That looked pretty cool. All 8 guys start to brawl, and basically bodies were flying everywhere. Pat McAfee is a chicken heel. McAfee puts Cole in the figure 4. Cole reverses it, and I never understood how just by turning over you reverse the pressure out of figure 4. I've put somebody in a figure 4 and had them turn it over on me, and it didn't hurt me at all, so I don't understand how that works. Dunn gets powerbombed into Burch, who was on a table, but the table didn't break. Finally, it does break when Roddy hits them both with a frog splash from the top rope. Cole counters a superplex attempt by McAfee and throws him through a table. And then finally, Pat McAfee is isolated by all 4 members of Undisputed Era, and they just start wailing on him and beating him down. There was a sick neck breaker from Adam Cole to Pete Dunne while they were both standing on the top rope. McAfee plays copycat to Io Shirai by jumping off the top of the cage. We saw that once, and I don't think we needed to see it again. His jump basically canceled out Io's from earlier in the night. Dunn hits a bitter end on O'Reilly, and O'Reilly kicks out. I think that's the first time I've ever seen somebody kick out of the bitter end. Cole hits Panama Sunrise off the top rope onto McAfee, and McAfee kicked out. I think that's the first time I've seen anybody besides Johnny Gargano, I think, kick out of the Panama Sunrise. Dunn hits Cole with a bitter end into the chair that looked vicious. O'Reilly hits a knee off the top rope onto a chair that was on Oney Lorcan and scores the pin. Undisputed Era wins the match. This was an outstanding match. It was nonstop from the time O'Reilly and Dunn got to the ring until the time that O'Reilly got the pin on Oney Lorcan. It was that volatile. It was that vicious. It was that intense. I loved this match. I think this is my favorite War Games match of all time, and that includes the ones from back in the WCW NWA days. And now I'm going to close the show by giving you a final recap. This was a great show. I had read some spoilers on the show this morning when I got up to go to work. So, I knew what happened. And the spoiler that I read really put this show over as an outstanding show, and they weren't too far off the mark. I would say probably the worst match of the night was probably Ciampa and Thatcher. But that was a decent match, so I don't think there was a bad match on the card. But I closed this show with getting 13 out of 15 confidence points, and now that is more like it. That is what I'm used to doing when I make predictions on these shows. But until next time when we meet, this is Steve saying, see ya.